All right, another session of 10NL Zoom, and last session didn't go too well. Let's hope this one goes a little better. Raise it up with the King Jack. Immediately get 3-bet by Potato Man. Haven't done many 4-bet bluffs recently. I've got no stats on this guy early on in the session. I'll try and be sensible and let it go. King 10 of clubs. Certainly going to at least call. I'll let it go. I think I've got to find some spots to be more aggressive. I'm just not really. Today's been one of those days where I'm really just not making any hands, and so it's always trying to find spots to pick up chips with no hand, which I have to be honest and say is something I'm really just not that good at. Another 3-bet. So can we call in position with this, or is this just a fold? And we'll just bet here with the Jack 7. I think I'm going to fold. Here I'm actually going to bet big. Like, he shouldn't really have a lot of this. I should have way more of it than he does. Yeah. Plus we had a jack blocker, so the chance of having Queen Jack was quite low. The 8s, that might be a bit weak. Okay, both tables we get some callers. We do flop something on this table. This time I'm actually going to check back. Both my opponents could possibly have a 3, whereas I'm really not going to have them very often, and we don't have to protect them very much. 2 overs and an inside straight draw, but it's probably a little bit loose to call. And here we'll just bet very small with my ace jack. And we get 2 folds. Okay, raise it up with the 8s, get 2 callers, and flop a full house. I guess we can just bet. We can bet very small here. Two folds. I mean, I guess we could have afforded a check, but we would see bet that board quite a lot. Under the gun, min raise, ace 10 off. I think we just want to be calling here. Middle pair, we got back. We're going to just bet. I think we just bet half pot here. No one's showing any interest at all. Ace 10, middle pair, and backdoor diamonds is going to be cool. And I think I actually do want to bet on the right. Just want to get him to fold ace high hands or similar hands to what I have. Doesn't work. He has king 4. With a nut flush draw here. I guess we could. Would you want to turn it into a bluff? I don't think we want to turn it into a bluff. I think he's going to have a queen quite a lot. And unfortunately, I think we're just going to be losing. The ball pairing on the river, if he bets this large, he's kind of polarizing because I don't think he's ever going to do that with just a queen. God almighty, we can 3-bet a huge amount at the moment. That did seem to go away for a bit. It seems to be back with a vengeance, getting 3-bet a massive amount. I think the ace 10 there probably is just a fold. Frustrating, but What I haven't done is called too often those spots and finding people bluffing, but it's hard to believe that he would bet just a naked queen or even maybe kings or aces for that size. Could have had queens full. Board did pair on the river, so that would have made sense. Raised up with ace queen of spades, and again, not getting a really bad flop. I think we have to check that. Had a good turn. I think we do want to bet quite large here. Plenty of bad rivers. As of yet, no one's showing any interest, so we'll bet big. And I think we can bet again. He's going to have like ace jack. He can have aces and sixes. This might be getting a little bit thin, but we will bet. Oh, he's disconnected. So I'm not too worried if he remains disconnected and folds. I mean, it's obviously not a spot where I want to get check raised. Looks like he is not going to make it back. Nope, so we pick up the pot, which is fine. Raise that with the sevens. It's obviously not a very good board, but a board that's going to be pretty good for our range. It's obviously bad for our hand. I think that we're going to go again for a very large bet. He doesn't really have any of the strong hands here, which we do. And by strong hands like aces, he could have had ace jack, I suppose, but we certainly do have queen 10. I'm going to go for a call here on the button. I don't do this too much, but I think it's okay. Kind of like this guy just to go away now. Don't really want him to raise. And we can just call. I'm going to 3-bet with my ace queen. I'm actually going to check this back with my queens with not the world's best kicker. Is this too thin to raise? Probably. Kings. What on earth was that about? Okay, we're going to bet our ace queen. Well, didn't think he'd have kings there. And we want to triple off with this ace queen. Yeah, I think we probably do. What's he ever going to have? Is he ever going to fold stuff like tens or eights? He's never going to hand like ace king, I don't think, when he calls on the turn. So I'm really not convinced that this is going to work. We do block aces and queens. Kings, I think, with 3-bet pre. Jacks is not a great hand. I think we're just going to have to wimp out. We also have a hand like 7, 8, tens. I just don't think he's going to fold that. Maybe it's just wimpy. Maybe I have to go for it, but I don't know. Maybe if I'm going to bet the turn, then I've got to follow through on the river. I'm just unconvinced that people are ever actually going to fold a hand like tens. But I think if I bet that size on the turn, I've really got to be following through. Threes to a min 3-bet. Very strange. We're going to have to call. Ace 10 here. It's getting ugly, but we are going to have to call one more, I believe. I don't think he ever has. Would we ever have a seven here? Is this just gonna be ace king, ace queen, ace jack? Probably. Yeah. We're struggling at the moment because we're putting people on kind of the right hands, but we're just losing chips all the time. We do. It does feel like we're running into people with hands sort of permanently. Like really, no one's bluffing. In the last few hands, we've had what tens, top pair there, and a guy who had kings when he just flatted from the big blind. Just I don't think I'm playing too loose. My stats are definitely not too loose. If anything, I could probably I'm probably a little bit too tight. But it's become a real struggle lately. There's nothing really seems to be going right in the last couple of sessions. But there, maybe I should call him with ace ten is just pointless because it's never a bluff and he's never value betting worse. Yeah, it just feels so weak just to fold. And so getting beaten up at the moment, finding things difficult. We're ISOing here with ace jack, which I think is a sensible play, but not necessarily expecting it to go well. We do flop a pair. Right now, really, realistically here, we should have the best hand most of the time. Like ace king, ace queen for him should be raising pre, so we should be good. Like I don't think he should have clubs. We're just going to call this bet. Is it too thin to value bet, or I have no clue what this guy's going to turn up with. I think we just have to check now. 10-6. Like I'm just lost at the moment as to what people have. So I don't think he actually calls a river bet there. So I don't think I lost any value, but still kind of a bit lost as to what other people have got. My hand reading needs a lot of work. It's going to fold here in both spots. Ace queen off against an undergun raise. I guess we'll go for a very tight fold. And we'll tighten up a little bit. Stuff like queen 10 off and the cut off will probably just start letting it go. Okay. So can we rally? Can we make a comeback in this session? Yeah, an early position limper here. And 7-8 of spades. I think it's just make up. No reason to raise. And a pot that we're not going to be putting any chips in. Ace 10 off against a cut off open, I think, is a defend, but this is a hand that, given how poorly it's performed lately for me, I might have to revise playing. And once again, we do not flop anything, and I think I'm just going to start rather than getting fancy. We've got no. If I had ace of spades, I would check raise, but since we don't, just let it go. Okay. Nines, we'll go for a slightly different play. We'll go for just calling, and here with the queens, we will. Sorry, not queens, ace queen. We'll go for a small bet here with our nines, and guess we'll bet again with our straight. Once again, we have not flopped the hand. We'll just go for a very small c bet. That's what we do if we had an overpair. It's getting a bit tough because we've constantly sat here with no hand, and I'm not convinced a guy with these stats and on this stack side is going to go away. I just don't know. If we could have the best hand here. We have some showdowns, stuff like ace three, ace five, king nine, and he rivers a king. Oh boy, it is going fucking terrible. But there, am I supposed to, against a guy like that, just fire the turn? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, one of those sort of modes of wouldn't it be nice occasionally just to have top pair in the three bet pot? I'm not going to get frustrated with these fires. I could just shove this because there's sometimes there's going to be a squeeze, but I assume that he isn't going to just squeeze willy-nilly against somebody who's only playing a relatively short stack, and he goes all in. Ace jack and ace eight. There's my five, and I just stay to just annoy myself. Get three bet here. Oh my lord, this is going shit. But again, if you look at these three bet stats, they look. The reason I did that is A, I don't do it too much. It's not a bad hand. It's got some blockers, so people are doing that three bet a little bit wider than perhaps I sometimes think. Plus, he had a very high three bet stat, so that's why I did that. And go for our usual, just small c bet on a board like this. Yeah, well, we're obviously not going to go away, but I don't like it. He really shouldn't have ace king. King queen is certainly a hand he can have. And cool. And now he just has like a set sevens or a set fours. So did we get lucky there? I think we may have done. He had jack eight, so he just had nothing. So we might be getting bluffed a little bit more than I think. I'm probably giving people a little bit too much credit. And as you can tell from like what I'm saying, like my game needs plenty of work. Do need to play more, get more experience, get more of a feel of what people have in certain spots. I do have a tendency to give people more credit than perhaps I should, and then sometimes give them not enough credit. And that's why I'm playing 10 and out. And the guy in the big blind here has incredibly loose stats. And we do flop top pair. And we'll just make up here with the 5-7. I guess the right play here has to be just to raise. And If we bet this, it leaves us with roughly pot size for the river, so I think that's the play. It just goes away, which is all right. We get a raise here, so we'll just triple it. That's sweet. 3-bet size. I like to do. Get called. Don't really get the flop we want. Ace King, I think 4-bets. Probably. So, but we will go ahead and check it back, see if we can pick off some bluffs. And we'll check back one more time. Do not have Ace Jack. And now we're just going to value bet. So a sudden flurry of hands, but now we've all gone a bit quiet again. Didn't really make much with my hands, but at least I did in fact win a few hands, which is obviously hadn't been happening before. Okay, pocket nines on both tables. Raise and a mini sort of 3-bet. I wonder if we're okay just to call this, given just how small it is. I know the guy from under the gun can re-raise. I don't know if this is okay. We will call here. I feel stupid if this guy then raises. She doesn't, but don't really get a very helpful flop. And obviously we're just going to be checking and checking and checking and checking. And I don't see any way we can be good here. Yeah, that's kind of what I expected. Once we all started checking, it became clear that nobody liked the ace or the king. All right, aces. Can we get anyone to play with us? No. Ace 10 of spades against the guy who's very active on the button. I'm definitely then going to pop it up. I think 9 is a perfectly fine sizing. Snap, snap called. And we'll go for a continuation bet. Again, snap calls. It's getting very, very frustrating. I don't know if there's any point continuing to blast away. King 10, we get 3-bet. Do we just shove here? Like, is the person calling with like 5, 6 super active stats? So we're just going to shove. And on this occasion, it does work out. That was largely because of just how active the person's stats are that I figured the person could just be floating on that flop with more or less anything. But I don't like doing that, just blasting with absolutely nothing. I figured I'm afraid I had to do it. This is An interesting looking board. I'm actually just going to check this back. Do not want to get check raised on that board. Not a good turn card. We're going to check it back one more time. Okay, well, I would imagine that we are at least winning, or that's probably not going to get any chips out of him. We'll just go really, really tiny. Starts playing like this, I just assume he's got an under pair. Yeah, it's just a snap folds. I assume that was just a small pair. And I'm going to go for a small C bet. All by the small blind, who's playing not much less than me. Really, really bad board. We'll check it back. We'll just be kind of giving up. It's a really crummy board for my range. Hits him way harder than me. Nothing much I can do. Oh, we may as well make up here with the 6-7, and he limps in. Never know, we might flop something big. He raises. If he call, well, I think it's too. If it was suited, I would call. Offsuit, I think just throw it away. Pocket tens, raise it up. One cooler. And this time we will check. We will bet this turn card. Yeah, I think half pot is fine. We get called by plenty of worse hands, and that is not the river we were hoping for. Here we're going to have to call. We're getting 3-1 with 6-3, and we're very lucky to win with the tens on the left. What did he have? He had 4-3 of spades, and our mighty 6-3 there doesn't get the job done. Can we jack? I suppose we could ISO with that. Might be a little bit weak. Ace 10 off. I think actually he was going to start folding it from under the gun. We'll raise it up from the small blind. Usually we go 3x, but when we're playing a smaller stack, and so is he, I think we can go a little smaller. And we get kings again. We get kings a few times. We're not really getting a lot of action though, unfortunately. A couple of times we've had aces, we've had kings, and really not much has gone on with them. A little disappointing. Probably shouldn't have done this with a jack four. If you look at this card, actually, I'm really regretting it. But now I certainly will bet. Now we flop the flush draw. The reason I was saying I regret it is because that guy's stats over not that many hands, but a few, he had a very high 3-bet percentage. And jack four, you're not exactly jumping for joy if you get 3-bet and you're holding jack four. 10-8 off, getting 5.5 to 1. This is probably pretty borderline. We do flop a gut shot. But, I think it's a little bit loose to start calling out of position with that. So it might just be that that's a fold pre. Just when you're getting such a good price, it feels like you should call, but then it's hard to ever really realize post flop. King Jack, if I was playing a full stack, I'd consider three betting, but trying to be a good boy and not get involved too much three betting really marginal hands in those spots. I'm going to raise up with Ace Jack now. And we get a pleasant board. And we'll go for a check back here. We would check back a lot. Obviously, clubs do get there. We have the jack of clubs, so I think we can check this one back. Now we'll just go for a really tiddly rally bet on the river. He's fine. Queen here will call. I think we have to call again, given that we do have the Queen of Diamonds. Clearly don't love it, but so I don't think I can fold. And for two, I suppose we do have to call. 6-5, eh? Okay, nice. Raise it up with the Ace Jack, and we get we don't hit anything, but it's not a terrible flop for us. King high board, usually pretty good for the raiser. Ace seven of clubs, just a 2.5x. I think we can defend with this. Got absolutely no stats on this guy at all, so maybe must have never seen him before. Yet again, we just don't seem to flop anything, so we're always having to consider bluffing. I think without a spade here, we are just going to fold. And we get one cooler. And I do think we want to see bet this board. He's going to have quite a lot of small pocket pairs that aren't going to love this. We do turn a straight. I don't know how massive I can, but I think half pot is probably going to be fine. Okay, he just immediately goes away. So leading me to think that he probably did have the kind of hand I suspected, a small pair, which is the most common hand you'll see people calling raises with. Yeah, a 2.2x raise. Guy is pretty tight under the gun, but I certainly think that we will have to going to be defending with this. And we don't flop. I think we've got backdoor. We've got some backdoor draws here. I think against someone who's playing pretty tight, that it's going to be okay, I think, to go either check raise. I think we can actually just float this out of position. I think if he has overcards, he may well shut down a lot of turns. I think if he has an ace king, those sorts of hands, I don't think he'll bet again. Okay, he doesn't. Now I think that we can safely bet, and if he's got the kind of hands I'm thinking, then he will fold. Sort of surprised to see him taking. Not really sure what this is. A guy. These stats like this is never a bluff, but what hand actually makes any sense? I just don't see it being a bluff. That's the problem. I can't think of really much that would play this way. Bet the flop, check back the turn, now raise the river. But just sort of blasting all in there just to be shown pocket tens, or somehow he has like 5-6 suited. No thanks. So my bluffs are having sort of some success, but not a lot. What I would say is in the session with 318 hands, don't seem to have got involved too much in way in pots that have got serious chips in them and had a hand. Had a couple of hands, just not in pots when there's been any real chips going in. And I think we do want to bet quite large here. Our hand could stand, needs a lot of protection. I'm going to raise here with my ace 10, and I'm just going to check this back. Not sure whether this play with ace 10 is correct. It's just against the small c bet. I think sometimes a hand like this, it's okay to have in your check raising range. I don't check raise too much. What's the downside of this? If he now blasts over the top, what do you do? But we've got all that. We've certainly got sets of three, sets of sixes, maybe set of 10 sometimes. So I think we have more strong hands on that board than he does. Against the larger c bet, I would probably just call. Now we get a friendly board on the left. I think probably either is okay here. We are, in this case, I'm just going to call. Not a great turn because he can be leading with hearts. I think probably just here we just have a cool kind of line. Don't think we ever want to raise this. Not a great river. Just hoping he bets like just 5 again or something like that. This hand really can't withstand. Yeah, I mean, is he ever going to do this with Queen Jack or worse? What hands involving a 5? I guess I'm probably just going to call, but I don't expect to win. Hearts, we've got the King of Hearts. We take out quite a number of flushes. I am going to call. And Ace Jack, yeah. Oh, God. It's just, I'm not ever seeing any bluffs, and we seem to be always in that spot where we don't have the best hand. Getting frustrating. Maybe that's a fold. I kind of, as you probably could hear, talk myself into a call, even though my instinct says it's probably just a fold. But then, since I fold a lot, I feel like I'm folding too much, and then talk myself into calling in spots. It just feels so pitiful to just keep folding rivers. Could have been worse than that, and the river could have been a heart, and that would have been very ugly. Given that he did have the ace of hearts. And check it with a jack 3 off. Flop nada. He bets twice the pot. I think we'll let him have it. Eights here. I think it's okay sometimes to call with stuff like this. I don't think you always have to 3-bet everything. And well, we flop top set, but of course we do get the monotone board. He checks. I think we have a fairly clear just bet. Don't think we want to just check and add another club roll off. I don't know whether I'm getting someone here who's just flopped the nut flush, who's just getting really sort of taking the ages with it to try and pretend that they're thinking. I think we do just want to keep betting. He could obviously have lots of hands with just one club in them, so we can't really be doing anything other than just betting. I get nervous when someone takes this long. It just feels like someone who's really milking it. I would have thought he would check raise the turn if he did have a flush. Perhaps I'm wrong. We could be really getting done here. He could just be going check, 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 raise all in. But I do think we have to bet. He could easily have like ace king with just a club, so I'm certainly not going to check my set. Okay. Not sure why he was taking so long to do everything, but worked out. We do flop set here. We're just going to go for a check. We're going to go for something slightly different. And we immediately get potted into. And I think pretty clearly we just have a check call here, check call line. And if the guy has 7-9, he snap checks. I'm going to call here with our 9 high flush draw. Oh, we have to call. And it's just disgusting, isn't it? It is disgusting. Okay, that's going to be the end of the session. I don't think there's much I can really do there as we lose here as well. Yep, to a straight. So it's getting a bit frustrating at the minute. I'm not sure that I'm sure I'm making plenty of mistakes. I don't know if I'm doing that much wrong, but it's really not going very well. Anyway, if anyone's still watching, it's been a slightly longer video than normal. Really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm not enjoying it too much at the moment, but I have every faith that it'll turn around. Why, I don't know, but you got to have faith. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.